Hello, my divine souls. Welcome to Spiritual Bloom, where we bloom within our consciousness with your spiritual guide and twin flame coach, Neha. In today's episode, we will be talking about the third party dynamic in a twin flame journey, why it happens, and what it really means. So, why does a third party appear in so many twin flame journeys? Is it karmic? Is it destiny? Or is it a sabotage? And the hardest question of all, if someone is truly your twin flame, why would another person even come between you two? Today, we are going deep into the real spiritual, emotional, and psychological meaning behind third parties in a twin flame connection. Not the fantasy, not the social media version, the deeper truth most people avoid talking about. Because sometimes the third party isn't there to destroy the connection. Sometimes it's there to expose everything the connection was built on. Now first let's understand what is a third party. When people they hear third party, they immediately think of another romantic partner. But let me tell you, in this journey, third parties can take many forms and it is not necessarily only a romantic partner. So, a third party is anything that stands between two people and authentic union. Sometimes it's in the form of a person and sometimes it's in the form of a wound. And this is important to understand because many people become hyper focused on the other woman or the other man while completely missing the deeper spiritual lesson. Because the third party is not just limited to another person, it can be a habit, it can be a dynamic, it can be societal norms, it can be environment, it can be anything. So, in many twin flame connection, the third party becomes the catalyst for awakening. Not because pain is romantic, because pain reveals attachment, insecurity, control, abandonment wounds and emotional dependency. That's why to awaken a person, the third party plays its role. Now let's understand that why third parties appear in this connection. Firstly, the third parties they appear to trigger shadow work. The twin flame journey, as we all know, is not just about love. It's also about transformation. And transformation rarely happens without confrontation. Until and unless you don't understand your wounds, you can never really transform. And a third party often appears to trigger the shadow self. You feel jealousy, comparison, obsession, fear of replacement, abandonment, and also lack of self-worth. The connection starts revealing every wound you thought you had hidden. And this is where many people confuse spiritual connection with emotional attachment. Because if your identity collapses the moment someone else enters the picture, the journey may be showing you where healing is still needed. That means you lack self-worth and self-esteem. That's why a third party or third party environment made you insecure. Secondly, the divine timing and soul contracts. Sometimes the twin flame connection arrives before either person is emotionally ready. One person may still be involved in karmic relationships that they need to complete or learn from. And this frustrates many people because they think, if we are meant to be together, why are they with someone else? They always question that. But spiritual growth doesn't always move at the speed of your desire. It moves at the desire of the universe, of the divine. That's why some lessons they cannot be skipped. The divine timing plays its role in this third party dynamic, and because of this third party, just understand that not every delay is rejection. Sometimes people, they need to experience certain relationships to understand what love is not. Hear that again. Sometimes people need to experience certain relationships to understand what love is not. If they are in a toxic karmic relationship, the universe has put them in such relationship so that when true love comes into their life, they will value that love. And that love will come from self-worth, self-esteem, and not from the place of neediness. That's why third parties are placed in people's life so that they understand, and of course the third party doesn't treat them well. So when they are mistreated, the person becomes grounded and humble. So the universe tries to humble them down, because until and unless they don't humble down, they can never come into sync with their divine counterpart. Thirdly, to break illusions. A third party can expose unhealthy expectations within the twin flame dynamic. For example, idealization, emotional dependency, savior complexes, possessiveness, or fantasy attachment. Many people, they enter the twin flame journey expecting unconditional romance. Like I told you, they think that it is a fantasy or fairy tale kind of love. But the journey often begins with emotional chaos because it forces both people to confront themselves, to confront all those deep wounds which they have been hiding over the years. Now, let us understand what is the difference between karmic relationship and twin flames. We always pinpoint some people and we say that they are karmic or this is a karmic relationship. But let us understand what is the difference. Now, when I'm trying to bring the differentiation between these two terms, this is where things become complicated online, because people nowadays, they often assume the twin flame dynamic is perfect, whereas the karmic dynamic is toxic. That is how they have labeled it. But the reality is more nuanced, because karmic relationships are often built around lessons, cycles, and unresolved patterns. That's why they feel intense, addictive, magnetic, and emotionally consuming. They often involve repetition of cycles, emotional highs and lows, attachment cycles, unresolved wounds, and also dependency. Now let's come to twin flame connections. Whereas the twin flame connection, it tends to act like a mirror. How? It reflects your wounds, your fears, insecurities, your potential, and also your authentic self. But here's the important part. Not every intense connection is a twin flame connection. Remember that. And not every painful relationship is spiritually destined. Just because it's painful, that does not mean that you are in a spiritual relationship with somebody. Now, as we all know about the famous runner-chaser dynamic, I have already explained in the previous episodes. The third parties, let me tell you, they often appear in most of the twin flame journeys during the runner and chaser phase. The runner may enter another relationship when they run away, when they hide, or they ghost you, they disappear from your life. They may enter another relationship because they feel overwhelmed. They feel overwhelmed with the intensity of the connection that they feel with their counterpart. Secondly, they fear vulnerability. They are too scared to be vulnerable near the divine counterpart because they think that the counterpart is going to judge them. Thirdly, they seek distraction. Because the relationship feels so intense, they get confused and to distract themselves from that connection, they go into some other connection which is easier and does not feel intense. And also because they want emotional safety, which the counterpart will not provide, because whenever they come in contact with the counterpart, instead of giving emotional safety, the counterpart will mirror and show them their deepest wounds, which needs healing. And also to avoid transformation, because of that intense feeling, because of the mirror energy that they feel their deepest wounds, and because they know that they have to transform and work on themselves to transform and ascend, they run away, and they run and they jump and skip into some other relationships with the third party, because that relationship feels more easier than this divine connection. They get confused. They don't understand that why this relationship is so intense. Why is it so painful? It is intense, addictive, and painful at the same time. But they also know that even if this divine connection looks perfect, they have to work on themselves. And that is the work that they don't want to put in. So they run away. And they run and they choose the easier person. That is the karmic. Meanwhile, the runner runs away because of all these reasons. The chaser often becomes consumed because they are in waiting energy. They start waiting for the counterpart. They start analyzing signs. They whenever they see angel numbers, they'll start opening the Google and they'll Google that what is this signifying, or the dreams, or coming into spirituality like over spiritualizing, trying to enter it for no reason. And also the chaser becomes consumed with the obsession over reunion. So these are the two different situations where the runner and chaser goes through when the third parties they enter. And this is where the journey can become unhealthy. Let me tell you that a true spiritual path should not destroy your mental health. If the connection is causing constant anxiety, loss of self, emotional instability, or obsessive behavior, the lesson may be calling you back to yourself. That's why separations are created. Separations between you and your counterpart is created so that you work on yourself and not obsess over the other person or wait for the other person. The most misunderstood truth about Twinflame, it may be difficult for some people to hear, but union is not guaranteed simply because a connection feels spiritual. That is the truth. And some twin flame journeys are meant only for awakening and not lifelong partnership. That's why in one of the episodes I have described in detail that what does inner union and 3D divine union means. It means, let me tell you briefly in this episode also, that inner union means you have come into union with yourself and divine, and from that, once you have come into union with yourself and divine, you carry forward your life purpose, because you are not destined to be with your counterpart in this lifetime according to your karmic cycles that you have carried over the past lives and this life. Whereas some people are meant for lifelong partnership. That's why when they ascend, they come into physical 3D union, because their duty and responsibility is different again. Here, both of them, they have to come together so that they can carry forward the divine responsibility according to their karmic cycles and past life cycles. That's why this is the difference. And in all these things, the greatest lesson is learning that self-respect, detachment, emotional maturity, boundaries, and inner wholeness. This is what the third party teaches you. Because love without self-love, it is simply suffering. You're waiting for the other person and you're not giving yourself that love, that respect. That is absolute wastage. A third party can force someone to stop abandoning themselves while waiting for another person to choose them. So you are not supposed to do that. You should let the divine and the universe play its own role. When a third party enters, it's because your counterpart has some karmic cycles to complete and lessons to learn with that person. And until and unless their lesson or their karmic cycle is not completed, don't even think about coming into union with that person. That is not going to happen. And there is other scene where even if they have completed their karmic cycles, the two people, both the counterparts, are not destined to be together or into union in this lifetime. In that case, you have to carry forward this journey on your own through your spiritual path, your spiritual purpose. You cannot keep on waiting. The third party has its own role to play. So don't blame any third party, don't curse any third party, because that third party is actually helping you and your counterpart to grow in this dynamic. It is forcing your people to see through things which you have ignored for so many years. So let me tell you that what you should not do when a third party enters or already exists in your relationship. Do not obsessively monitor their social media or compete with the third party, or just forget about competing. Don't even bring that feeling that you are better than that person or that person is better than you. Nobody is better than anybody out here. We all are playing our own different karmic roles. Just remember that. Even we, being a counterpart or a twin, we also have been karmic once upon a time, or still are maybe in somebody's life. Though we are ascending, though we are doing the inner work, we maybe are still karmic in someone's life. So do not judge or do not bring that feeling that I am better than the third party or the third party is better than me. Just remember that we are puppets and we are playing here our own individual roles and completing our cycles. Thirdly, do not lose your identity. In the process of comparison, do not lose your identity. Stop living your life. Don't stop living your life, and don't keep waiting and romanticize suffering, thinking that, oh, I will suffer, I will cry, they will be in the third party, then one day everything will be fine. No, you have to move forward. And also, do not tolerate disrespect in the name of spirituality. That is absolutely wrong. A spiritual connection should elevate your consciousness and not trap you in emotional survival mode where you are waiting for the other person and the other person is actually completing their own karmic cycle with someone else. You should go and see the previous episodes. There I have described that what is inner union and what is 3D union. You need to see that episode, and you also need to see that what is the difference in the sense how to survive all these things, how to not obsess about all these things. Why are you trapped into all these things? You should not be trapped, because union and inner union is different for different people. Everyone is completing their karmic cycle out here. Now, what you should focus on during such times, what you should focus on? You should focus on healing your nervous system first. I have been always telling you, and I will keep on telling you repeatedly, heal your nervous system. There is episode on this also, heal your nervous system. There are 2 parts. Please go and watch and listen to them if you haven't yet. Another one is emotional independence. Never be dependent on anyone. It's not just about your partner. Never have emotional dependence on any person, even your family member. Even if it's your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, just remember one thing. You have come into this universe alone, and you will go alone. And that is written in many scripts, in many holy books, that you have come alone. Bring no attachment, carry no attachment. So, don't be dependent emotionally on anybody. Try to search your purpose. Instead of wasting time scrolling and stalking your third party, try to find your purpose, your art, your creativity, whatever you have studied. If you have completed a degree or if you want to shift your work, concentrate on that. Create healthy boundaries with people who do not respect you, even if it's your counterpart, even if it's a karmic. If you are in any kind of karmic relationship, maintain boundaries, know your self-worth, and most importantly, understand that inner peace is the key for maintaining balance in this divine journey. If you don't have inner peace, your mind, your heart will be blocked. The chakras will be blocked and you will not be able to function properly. You will not be able to heal yourself, because healing also requires patience. Sitting, meditating, gardening, or doing any kind of art requires patience. When you don't have inner peace, how will you do creative work? How will you meditate? You will always be feeling restless. You will always be thinking that, oh, that person is married to someone else or in a relationship with someone else. Let me check. Let me dive into their social media. Let me see where they are going. If that is the cycle you are going to follow, I'm telling you, no kind of inner work is going to work, and you are delaying your own journey. You are delaying your own abundance. You are delaying everything in your life. Stop comparing. Stop stalking people and think about how to bring that inner peace within you. Because once you have mastered the art of gaining that inner peace within you, nothing can beat you. Let 100 third parties come, let people taunt you, nothing is going to affect you. But the main thing is, how do you bring that calmness? How will you bring that inner peace within you? You know, there are people who are really blessed in abundance. They have everything in life. They have money, they have children, they have properties, but one thing they don't have, that is inner peace. And how does an inner peace come? Inner peace comes when your divine light is connected to the divine. When your light is connected to the divine, you become fearless. Nothing in this world can make you scared. Nothing. Even if you have 100 rupee penny in your pocket, you will never be scared. Because you know who is guiding you. You know, you have faith, you have surrendered. So when you come into that surrendering mode, that time you gain inner peace. So stop comparing yourself. Stop stalking. Stop waiting. This third party has come in their life, it can come in your life also to teach you a lesson. Like I told you, we all are puppets out here. We are playing our own respective roles. So do not curse them. Do not talk ill about them, saying that they came, they destroyed. Nobody has destroyed anything out here. We have already decided, written, made all these contracts according to our past life cycles, generational curses, so many things. So many things. You are not just clearing your own blockage, you are not just clearing your own ancestral wounds, you are clearing the entire lineage wound. So imagine how difficult it is. Even they are clearing some wounds, right? The third party is also human. They are not an alien. Even they have come to clear their own cycles. Even if they are third party in somebody's life, they are also clearing their own cycles, no? So you have to understand that if you are a human, even they are a human. They might not be compassionate because they are karmic. That is the difference. You are a twin, you are a chosen one, you are a God's child. But I'm not saying that they are not God's child. They are also God's child. But they were chosen to be such way. They were chosen to be a karmic in this lifetime. So you have to be the bigger person and stop cursing them or telling or saying that they are responsible for not bringing union in your life. Nobody is responsible here. We ourselves individually, we came here, we made a contract, and we will go from here. We have decided our fate long gone through our past life, through our cycles, and through our family dynamics or the lineage from where we came from. So do not curse anybody. Think that they are playing that role, you are playing your role. So stop chasing them and do your own inner work properly. Once you do your inner work properly, come into alignment and gain that peace and that connection with divine, no third party, no disturbance is going to bother you. You will be happy, merry, and in peace. So thank you for listening to me. If you really like this episode on third party and the dynamic and role in a twin flame journey, please like, share, and subscribe. For any kind of personal guidance, you can WhatsApp or email me. My contact details have been given in a description box. I provide 10 to 15 minutes demo before booking any kind of sessions, and if you like that demo session, you can book your counseling or your guidance sessions further. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for tuning in, and also thank you so much for supporting me. I'll see you again in another episode.